Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. So Jake Paul has moved on beyond Tommy Fury, and it looks like he's going to be fighting Hasim Rahman Jr. Initially, when I heard about this, I felt like, wow, Jake Paul is really stepping up. He's going to get knocked out, viciously knocked out. Then, unlike some other YouTube channels, start to do my little bit of research, and then I find out Jake Paul and Hasim Rahman Jr. have sparred. They know each other. A little bit of a fallout a couple of years ago where Rahman Jr. was, trying to give Jake Paul good sparring, not being too aggressive. Jake Paul was getting some shots off on him. But it looks to be more of Rahman Jr. working with Jake Paul opposed to trying to dominate him and getting paid to be an effective sparring partner to where Jake Paul can improve and get better, not become discouraged, get dominated, and knocked out. Well, Jake Paul being Jake Paul, he starts running his mouth, being unprofessional, and Rahman Jr. felt like he shouldn't have had the sparring session with Jake Paul because of how Jake Paul acted towards the end. We know Jake Paul is very immature. He's trying to take boxing serious now, but a couple of years ago, he was almost clown-like in his behavior, right? So fast forward to where we are today with Jake Paul and Hasim Rahman Jr. Hasim Rahman Jr. is coming off of a knockout loss to Tommy Morrison, the Duke, Tommy Morrison's son. So Hasim Rahman Jr. has 12 fights, 1 loss. He got a little bit of pop, but he's coming off of a vicious knockout. But something else we need to understand going into this fight with Jake Paul is for those of us who want to give Jake Paul credit for fighting a boxer, and a boxer like Hasim Rahman Jr. who has the name, right? He deserves to be lauded. He deserves to be commended for taking this fight because he is fighting a no-kidding boxer. And Hasim Rahman Jr. had 100 amateur fights. We know the story on Jake Paul, learning on the job. Tommy Fury, for whatever reason, couldn't get into the United States. There's no video of this. There's no paparazzis and pictures or anything floating around that Tommy Fury spent all day in the airport trying to sort out his affairs to see if he can travel to the States. There's no additional information on what happened after Tommy Fury left the airport, if he went to the embassies. There's no images or anything floating around anyway. Remember, we got to understand Tommy Fury and his profile in the UK. Got that famous last name. He's famous from reality TV over there. And it's hard to believe that he is out and about trying to, work through the visa issues. And there's absolutely no images, no video or anything of Tommy Fury working diligently to get things resolved. So enough with Tommy Fury. Not so sure what he's selling. Not so sure what he's selling I want to buy, okay? Sounds to me like he's trying to feed us a shit sandwich. And no matter how you try to, dress that up, a shit sandwich is a shit sandwich and it still stinks. So now we come back to Hasim Rahman. He's and Jake Paul are fighting at 193 pounds, okay? Hasim Rahman walks around, he fights at 211, 212. He will have to melt all the way down to cruiserweight. Now, look at it like this, okay? Jake Paul has to do what he has to do to give himself the advantage, all right? And I understand that. It's boxing. It's a business. Jake Paul needs to keep winning. Hasim Rahman's never made any real money in boxing. He's going to make good money here, probably $500,000. So maybe even $1 million. But he's going to get paid some good money, especially being a last-minute replacement. Hasim Rahman has like 30 days to get ready for the fight. Within those 30 days, he has to drop from like 212 pounds to 193. And so that means when you're trying to cut weight like that, it's hard to focus on training and getting ready for an opponent. Because what you're doing is you're focusing solely on getting the weight off and trying to come into the ring somewhat healthy. So by the time Hasim Rahman gets to the weight limit, I'm not sure just how hard he would have been able to push himself in training camp. So good job for Jake Paul being smart with his opponent selection. He got the name. He got someone who has a very attractive record. And he has someone who's being handicapped because he has to melt down from the heavyweight limit down to the cruiserweight limit. And then 4th, he had to do it within a certain time frame. And then 5, in doing so, he's going to sacrifice on really training and trying to focus on a strategy for Jake Paul in the upcoming fight in August. So Jake Paul has postured himself in a very good position to win this fight because he has all of the advantage. Jake Paul doesn't have to cut down. He's already at the weight. Jake Paul can continue and focus 100% solely on training, strategy, and being ready to go. So when this fight happens, a lot of people are thinking, oh, Jake Paul's going to lose. I do not think Jake Paul's going to lose this fight. I don't. I think he should lose because of Rahman being the sound amateur pedigree. He's been doing this for a long time. He has twice the amount of fights. But when you just look at, when you frame this for what it is, okay, Hasim Rahman Jr. is just at a disadvantage. Now, he should be able to come in there and pull it off, but when you have to cut like 20 damn pounds, man, 20, 30 pounds, that's crazy. That's crazy. So we'll see how it goes. I know for me, man, just dropping, 15 pounds, 20 pounds, your body, it takes a while for your body to recover, man. Your legs, your back. Sometimes when you sit down, you feel it in your whole body. You just want to, drink water and just chill, man. You don't want to do anything. So I couldn't imagine working feverishly to cut 20, 25, 30 pounds and train on top of that just to not get a break going into fight week and lead right up into one of the biggest fights of your life. And I just can't see his body standing up through maybe the 3rd or 4th round. I think at some point he's just going to get super tired. He's going to be super uncomfortable in the ring. And Hasim Rahman Jr. has stamina problems anyway, so it's definitely not going to help him. But it is what it is, man. But I did not know these guys had history of sparring. And, it is what it is, man. A lot of people haven't really watched a lot of the Hasim Rahman Jr. highlights, but it seems like he's a better fighter than Tommy. I will say that. But it's just funny that, to me, I find it so funny that, like Fury, the better fighter is another family member. So much is said on the family name, so when you look at Tommy Fury, Hasim Rahman Jr., it's those names that's going to help sell the fight. But at the end of the day, it has nothing to do with these guys' skill level and how they're going to be able to perform in the ring. It's just that tagline, it's that what's that shit called when you're writing your papers, man? You got to have that. There's a line whenever you're writing reports, man. It's not a tagline, man. But anyway, you need to have that lead in to the fights, and these last names are what gives us that lead into the fight. So we'll see, man. I got Jake Paul winning this by knockout again, and I don't know what to say. I'm giving him credit, but I'm not really giving him credit. You got to go in there with somebody. Give somebody. He tried to do it with Tommy Fury, so you can't blame Jake Paul. So actually, I can't blame Jake Paul for anything. It's not his fault. It's not his fault what's going on. But after Hasim Rahman, after he knocks him out and he goes on, hopefully he can get someone who can have a full 8-week training camp, who won't pull out, who won't have traveling issues, so we can give Jake Paul the credit he deserves. I'm going to go ahead and stamp Jake Paul as official because of what he's trying to do. It's not his fault. Not sure what's going on with Tommy Fury. Very disappointing 2 times in a row. I personally think Big John Fury doesn't want to fight and scared the socks off of Tommy Fury because he just doesn't want for his son to lose to Jake Paul. And listen, whether you like Jake or not, you like Tommy or not, right? When you look at the two of them, you can't help but say if Jake Paul lands that shot, which Tommy Fury is wide open for, he's going to hurt him. At some point, because that's what Jake Paul throws. He's not dancing like a butterfly, stinging like a bee. Jake Paul is looking to get that right hand off. He's going to land it at some point in the fight. And I think he's going to damage, so he would severely damage Tommy, and that would hurt the Fury last name, or at least hurt their pride, which is boxing, so it's got to be a winner and a loser. Let Tommy go in there and make $1 million or something crazy like that. But I think Big John Fury is the one who's disrupting all that. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong, but I know he's been adamant about Tommy not fighting Jake Paul. He thinks it's a circus. He doesn't want anything to do with it. He doesn't want his last name associated with Jake Paul. But anyway, we'll see what happens. But it's official. Rahman Jr., Jake Paul going to be getting busy, and I am looking forward to it, man. So that being said, shout out to all the veterans. Y'all keep safe. Like and subscribe. And they have some footage out there. I just don't feel like copying it from Twitter, pasting it in here, doing all that, because it'd be 3-4 months down the road, man. YouTube will come back and flag your video, give you strikes. It's just not worth it. So I'm just letting you guys know. If you go out on the internet and search Jake Paul, Hasim Rahman Jr. sparring conflict or sparring tension, you'll pull it right up. And you can see some of the sparring, and you'll see the confrontation that ensued. Nothing really, no shock and awe about what happened, but there was a little bit of drama. So that kind of leads into the fight, and it helps to build it up somewhat in this short period of time. But I personally got Jake Paul winning this by stoppage by round 4, and then he'll be on to the next. That being said, you guys keep safe. Thank you so much for your support. And as always, I'm in the breeze.